Hi, today I'm going to answer one of the client's question. The question from Christopher. He says, Dear Wen Xiong, I think Singapore property, though expensive, has more upside potential, correct? Yeah, thank you for your questions, Christopher. Okay, right now, I would like to point out my views on your question. Basically, number one, on the issue of scalability, whether you can scale, okay? Number two is on the figures, on the numbers, meaning on the yield and also on the capital appreciation, okay? Number three would be access to financing. Number four, currency exposure, yeah. Number five, as a foreigner, yeah, currency for exposure as a foreigner. Number five, on the demographics. Okay, so let me go through quick one by one. Okay, number one, on the demographics, okay, Singapore has a plan to make the population to 10 million, which is good. Okay, and on top of that, there are all the cooling measures that is as a safety net for property buyers like yourself and myself, which is good. So there's an increase of to up to 10 million. So in terms of the potential of this, I think it's good. Whereas if you ask me about Birmingham, London, okay, London, UK, yeah, they have also planned internal migration and everything, but maybe uh not as much as Singapore, yeah. But they have a acute shortage of housing. They don't have HDB like in Singapore. So that's one problem, huge problem that they are addressing. That's on the demographics. Number two, okay, we have addressed this. Number two, the numbers. The numbers just on the yield and capital appreciation, my Birmingham property and my London property is superior. Because for Singapore, new launch, if you're comparing apple to apple, yield will be about 3%. Capital appreciation is also 3%. Most of the new launches, the developers would be making the most profits from Singaporeans. For example, like what I said, Woodlands area, 2,000 per square foot in Woodlands, the same price you can buy in CBD in Singapore. Okay, we are talking about um resale. Yeah. Okay, so that's the numbers. Because for my edition in Birmingham, UK, we can get 6% yields. And also in terms of the capital appreciation is 5% a year. Okay, so it's higher than Singapore's numbers. That's the on just on the numbers alone. Okay, that's I have addressed. Number three, scalability. The weakness for Singapore properties is that you can only buy one name, one resi, right? You buy more, there'll be more taxes, a lot more taxes. So this is the government restriction. So you have to buy something else. Maybe you have to buy commercial shop house, HDB shop house, industrial B1, B2, or whatever, retail. You can't buy multiple resi like how we used to. You can only buy one or two max, husband and wife, one each, right? But in London, in UK, you can buy as many as you want. The tax is the same. It's not progressive like in Singapore. Okay, that's one scalability. And on top of that, okay, you have they have they can do things like HMO license. HMO license means you can buy a house, you can buy a house and cut into many rooms and make it into a co-living kind of accommodation. Okay. So yeah, that one is available in the UK. It's not that Singapore, it's not that Singapore not available, but probably Singapore, it doesn't make sense if you buy a house to do this business. Okay. Anyway, I've strayed off the main point, but anyway, that's on the scalability. Scale. How many can you buy? Can you buy 10 apart, 10 residents, 10 residentials in Singapore. You can do that in the UK, but you can't in Singapore. That's on the scalability. Now, and then of course, currency exposure. The pounds has depreciated 15% over the years. So is it will it depreciate some more? I don't know. But the strength of the Singapore dollars makes it compelling for you if you want to invest now, especially when the market is not strong as before. So you can buy pounds cheap, meaning to say you are buying at 15% discount effectively, currency wise. Okay. Whereas in Singapore, you don't have this risk because Sing dollars, right? And lastly, importantly, is the access to financing, which relates to your profile as well. How the bank sees you. How the bank sees you. Access to financing. Okay, Singapore, of course, I don't know about other overseas bank can lend for buying Singapore properties, but if you are local, you buy Singapore properties, of course, you get the most preferential interest rate because you are working here, you're staying here. Okay, but don't forget that you will also be subjected to the TDSR, and that also will limit the scalability as well. Yeah. Whereas in London, okay, access to financing, there are hundreds of banks that can finance in London, in the UK. But the only issue now is how they see you, how the bank sees you. If they see you as not the best kind of profile, their interest rate is higher. Okay, interest rate can be easily double that of Singapore. Maybe Singapore is 3%, that one will be 6%. Okay, that's the issue. But also not to forget that in other overseas finances, they can do things like interest-only loan. Interest only is available, meaning to say that your monthly installment will be lesser than compared to the principal plus interest setup, which is in Singapore. Because Singapore don't allow interest only, no more. Yeah. So again, it depends. What I said, it depends on your credit standing, depend on your access to the financing, and all that. It will impact the cost of purchase, and that will also impact your ROI. Yeah. So coming back to the question, Singapore property has more upside potential. Uh, it depends. It depends. Okay. So that's the best that I can answer you. It depends on all these factors. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you, and I hope to see you this weekend. See you, Christopher.